Hey everybody, this is Jeff Kelly from Pivotal Software. Thanks for joining. I'm talking today with Ivan Novick, who's a product manager here at Pivotal, working on Pivotal Greenplum. I'm here in New York City. Ivan, I think you're out in San Francisco?
Yep. Hey guys.
Cool. So I want to talk a little bit today about Greenplum release velocity. So obviously kind of agile software development, continuous delivery, that's really core to how we develop software for our clients at Pivotal, but we're also using that kind of methodology internally. I wanted to talk a little bit about specifically around Greenplum, how you guys are taking advantage of that kind of methodology, what that means in terms of release velocity, and of course benefits for customers. So why don't you talk a little bit at first about kind of your adoption of this methodology, maybe contrast it to the previous ways you used to work with developing Greenplum.
Yeah, it's been a big transition for us. We start, a few years back, we were doing heavily manual testing during our QA cycles, and it resulted in several week, up to 6-week cycles in order to do a complete QA verification of a release. Over the last few years, we rely heavily on automation testing. Sounds obvious, but when you automate tests, then you can do them faster. Mm-hmm. And really investing in the test suites as part of the product code, really giving them a lot of attention, trimming them, tuning them, gardening them, so that the test suites are optimal, efficient, and that we can get them done. The other thing we've done is starting to use more virtualized platforms. So pretty much the majority of all Greenplum QA testing is done on virtualized platforms, whether it be VMware or cloud platforms. And that allows us to do it more efficiently and to get it done in parallel. We can run tests in parallel, spinning up new environments, and get the whole cycle down under a day.
Wow, okay. And so this contrasts with kind of the more traditional method of developing software where it's a lot longer process and it's kind of a big bang release rather than this kind of iterative small batch release cycle.
Once you can confidently verify your functionality in 24 hours, what that opens up is the ability to ship at any point. So as we're developing code, as people create new functionality, new features, or fix bugs, and they get merged into the primary branch of the product, then within 24 hours, we can verify that all that functionality is good, and we can be providing new versions, whether they be patch or service pack releases on a much more frequent basis without a real waterfall planning cycle.
Mm-hmm. And can you quantify that in terms of how frequently we're actually releasing new features now?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, we have the capability to do a full verification in less than a day. Now, if we were to release every day, I think it wouldn't be appreciated by our users. They like to have it batched up into bigger chunks. Now, in the past, we had situations where we used to release, let's say, in 90 days. And the problem there is that, let's say there's something important the customer or user is waiting for, and we tell them, well, it'll be in the next build, and that's going to come in 89 days. That's really frustrating for people. So what we found is roughly about 25 days is a time period which is long enough to not basically scare and freak out users that it's coming too fast, but quick enough that at any given point in time, no one has to wait too long to get a release if there's something critical or important waiting. So I think 25 days is about the sweet spot. That's where we've been trending in the last few months. And that's where I think we're going to hover around for the rest of this year as we move forward.
Great. So talk a little bit about how this impacted your team. Did you have to kind of reorganize your team? I imagine there's a different setup in terms of how you develop software. Sorry about that feedback.
Well, yeah, I mean, so some of the other things that we do now is we heavily use Pivotal Tracker. So Pivotal Tracker is a web-based tool that is popular, outside of Pivotal as well, and it's used to essentially enter in all of the enhancements. It's I don't want to call it it's an agile development team tool to track the progress of projects, right? I don't want to use the wrong word like Scrum. It's not actually technically Scrum, but it's a sprint-based agile development work tool. and all of the features, all the bug fixes, all the chores get entered into the system. And then there are teams of not more than 8 people that work together in a certain area. They own a certain component. And what we try and do is organize the teams around components so that teams are independently operating. We minimize the conflicts between people checking into the same directories, the same files. And then those teams can, we universally use 1 week sprints. So when I did Agile and other teams and other companies, there was a lot of people doing 2 week sprints, 4 week sprints, or talking about 6 week, 8 week sprints. We do universally 1 week sprints. And if you're not used to it, you think, hey, how could you get anything done in a 1 week sprint? And the answer is, well, it's actually much more efficient. It allows us to change course faster, and we're able to break stuff down into smaller pieces. So we have many teams operating up to no more than 8 people, owning their own component, operating on 1 week sprints, and each team trying to improve their tests constantly to get faster at what they do, to get more efficient, and to get more quality and more productive in their piece of the code.
And is this approach common in terms of enterprise software development across the industry, or is this something you feel like we're kind of really pioneering here?
Well, I think that we in Greenplum didn't invent our process whatsoever. We completely copied the process from Pivotal Labs. And Pivotal Labs is, I think, an established leader in the industry, software industry, as far as agile practices, extreme programming practices. The other thing I didn't mention is we do pair programming. And that's, I think, fairly uncommon in enterprise software. And the immediate reaction people say is, oh, you're going to lose half your efficiency. Well, in the end, that's not how it works out, because what happens is that, sorry for digressing, but we avoid single points of knowledge. So if you have 8 people in a little team, and one person is an expert in something, and they pair with another person, and then the next day they pair with a different person, at the end of a short period of time, all 8 people know that code. So we do pairing that increases our efficiency. And I think all the different practices that Pivotal leverages in their software development is pretty unique, certainly in the database industry. I don't think there's other big database products being built this way. I think that's our competitive advantage. I think we're going to see Greenplum getting better faster than other database products because of the fact that we're using state-of-the-art agile and extreme programming practices, and that we're going to see our product state, whatever state it's in today, it's going to be in a better state in 6 weeks, better state in 7 states. I think that's something other big enterprise companies are going to not be able to keep up with in terms of at least how fast we're improving.
Great. So last question. So you touched on that, obviously speed. But bottom line, if I'm a user, what are the real benefits, the tangible benefits I'm going to get out of this approach from developers of Greenplum? The speed, of course. You're going to get releases more frequently. But really, overall, what are real benefits for customers?
Yeah, for a customer, it's really all about when you develop to a database or to a platform. You're making a bet. You're making an investment that your skills are going to be worthwhile in the future, right? And so by us adopting these practices, this is allowing us to take our product to be better and to be better sooner. So 6 months out, we expect to have a much better product than we do 6 months prior. And I think that's critical for users in the sense that not that they're going to upgrade every 3 weeks, but it's critical that they come back in 6 months and they know whatever they had today is going to be a much better product in 6 months and a much better product in a year. And that this guarantees the success of the project and makes the experience more rewarding, because things that they were using, they're now faster, they're now smoother than they were before. And that's the kind of product you want to work with, is one that's improving constantly, right?
Absolutely. All right, awesome. Ivan, thanks so much for taking a few minutes out of your day. I'll let you get back to developing Greenplum. And everybody watching, thanks for joining us. Talk to you again soon.
Jeff. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye.